Alright, also look, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about my full breakdown as to why I am confidently backing Gilbert Burns in this Saturday night's main event against Sean Brady, and why I think the MMA community has been completely off base with how they're disrespecting Gilbert Dorino Burns. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share so you can help me reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of the summer. I'll deeply appreciate you. And make sure you join the official UFC Discord link in the description. Alright, so look, this Saturday night at our annual UFC Fight Night main event, we've got two top 10 ranked welterweights going at it, that being Sean Brady, a welterweight rising star with an elite wrestling pedigree, versus Gilbert Dorino Burns, a seasoned vet who has fought the best of the best in the welterweight division. And look, right out of the gate, it is clear as day what Sean Brady's game plan is going into the fight this Saturday night. He's gonna look to wrestle. Sean Brady's grappling skills are top tier, don't get me wrong, and he's built this reputation as a grinder with exceptional control on the ground, and you've kind of got to give him his respect of his ability to dictate where the fight takes place when he's in top position. However, at the end of the day, this narrative that Gilbert Burns' grappling is no longer elite, especially his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is straight up laughable. Because there's been this prevailing notion within the MMA community that Gilbert Dorino Burns' Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu isn't as dangerous as it was hyped up to be, and I could not disagree more with that disgusting take. Because sure, I'll admit that his offensive grappling, meaning his ability to consistently take his opponents to the ground and dominate them on the canvas, has a bit of, exploitable holes. But when you talk about his defensive grappling, his ability to neutralize threats and turn the tables when he's on his back, Gilbert Burns is grade A elite. In fact, I put him up there with the best defensive grapplers in the game today. Up there with maybe Charles do Bronx? Because Gilbert Burns is extremely dangerous when his opponents are trying to impose their offensive grappling onto him. And if anyone needs a reminder, let's revisit his fight against Khamzat Boris Chimaev. Everyone and their mother knows that Khamzat Chimaev is one of the most dominant grapplers in the UFC right now, with his relentless style of pressure-heavy wrestling that have broken his previous opponents. And, in that fight, Khamzat did, what he does best. He took Gilbert down in the first round, but what happened next was a little eye-opening. Gilbert Burns immediately made it clear that being on his back was not a disadvantage. He consistently threatened Khamzat with submissions, making Khamzat, kind of second-guess staying in his guard for too long. Khamzat is known for smothering his opponents on the mat until he inevitably finds the choke. But against Gilbert Burns, we didn't see that whatsoever. After that first round, Khamzat then realized that engaging with Gilbert Burns on the ground wasn't in his best interest, and the fight inevitably became a striking battle. And honestly, in my opinion, I think that adjustment from Khamzat Boris, being forced into a stand and bang strike heavy fight rather than sticking to his grappling, was honestly, in my opinion, what costed him that fight against Gilbert Dorino Burns. Now, let's apply that same logic to Sean Brady. Do I think that Sean Brady will be able to take Gilbert Burns down? Of course, absolutely. Sean Brady is an elite wrestler, and his ability to constantly shoot for takedowns is going to give him a prominent opportunity to slam Gilbert Burns on the canvas floor Saturday night. But the question here is, what happens after that? I believe that, just like Khamzat Boris, Sean Brady is going to realize very quickly that playing around in Gilbert Burns' guard is a very risky game. Gilbert Burns has one of the most lethal and active guards in the welterweight division. He is constantly looking for submissions, whether it be an armbar, a triangle, or just creating scrambles in order to get back on his feet. Sean Brady, though, who relies more on his control as well as his pressure, might find himself in a dangerous spot if he tries to stay on the ground with Gilbert Burns for way too long. That's kind of why I believe that Sean Brady will be forced to stand and bang with Gilbert Dorino, and once that happens, the advantage swings heavily in favor of Gilbert. That takes us to our next segment, that being the striking department. Gilbert Burns has not only fought, but held his own against some of the best strikers within the welterweight division, and while he was very hesitant in his last fight against Jack Della Maddalena, who in his own right is a very high-level striker, that's not necessarily a reflection on Gilbert Burns' overall striking capabilities. And in his fights against Kamaru Usman, as well as Khamzat Chimaev, two fighters who have solid striking but aren't necessarily considered grade A elite when it comes to the striking department, we saw Gilbert Burns truly shine. Because when Gilbert Burns is confident in his stand-up game, he's got knockout power, great combinations, and an aggressive fighting style that can overwhelm any and all his opponents. He pushes the pace, throws with real intent, and doesn't let his opponents off the hook once he gets into his rhythm. Now, let's take into consideration Sean Brady's striking. Because while Sean Brady's striking has improved over the course of his UFC career, it's not on the same level as his wrestling. And, don't get me wrong, he's a very competent striker, but I wouldn't call him elite, especially when you compare him to the type of strikers Gilbert Burns has faced and beaten. Brady is not going to have his way with Gilbert on the feet, and, I'd kind of argue that Gilbert Burns is actually the better striker coming into this matchup on Saturday night. He's got more volume, he's got more power, and he's faced much tougher competition in the striking department. One thing we also can't ignore is Gilbert Burns' experience, because he's been in there with the very best. We've got Usman, Khamzat Bors, Tyron Woodley, and he's consistently performed at a very high level. He knows how to navigate difficult situations and make adjustments mid-fight, and he's not gonna get caught off guard by anything Brady brings to the table, in my opinion. And of course, we do have to factor in age, especially in the welterweight division where the smaller weight classes tend to see fighters decline much more rapidly as they get older. And, Gilbert Burns is 37 years of age, and that's something that, we kind of have to keep in mind. However, I don't think that age alone is going to be enough for Sean Brady to get the upper hand in this fight. Because, Gilbert Burns has shown that he can still perform at a very high level even as he gets older. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be picking Gilbert Burns to win this fight against Sean Brady. I think Gilbert's got the superior ground game. I think he's a much more dangerous striker, and I think he's got the experience in order to make necessary adjustments. And look, Sean Brady is a fantastic prospect with a bright future, but this is a tough matchup for him stylistically, and I kind of see Gilbert Burns just wearing him down over the course of this fight, forcing Sean Brady into uncomfortable situations in both the ground and striking department. That is why I've got Gilbert Burns by 3rd to 4th round TKO. But that's all I've got to say for this video. Let me know in the comment section below what do you guys have to say about the Gilbert Burns versus Sean Brady Fight Night event this Saturday night. And who do you got, Sean Brady or Gilbert Torino Burns? Let me know in the comment section below. But that about wraps up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.